This talk is sponsored by Decentology. Decentology is the innovative company behind the Hyperverse, the open, composable smart contracts marketplace that makes it easy for developers to build Web3 apps without writing a single line of smart contract code. Learn more at decentology.com.
Hello, my name is Guedis, Rise with Lettuce, and it's a pleasure being here today. Thank you for having me. So today we're going to be talking about mentorship, specifically all aboard the mentorship towards the Web3 worlds. Every hour, every day, every week, every month, people are boarding these mentorships to explore these Web3 worlds, embarking on new adventures filled with new opportunities, learnings, collaboration, building, and so much more. But unfortunately, not everyone has access. Some people are still waiting to get on. Other people may not be sure where to board or how to board one of these ships. But if we believe in the potential of Web3, and if we want to make it as inclusive, helpful, and innovative as it can be, we should try to get as many people on board these ships, embarking towards these Web3 adventures, so that everyone can benefit. So what can you do? Whether you're already in Web3, or you're curious about it, or you're a mentor or a mentee, or someone looking to get started, what can you do to help make mentorship more accessible to all? But before we continue, let's first talk about these various mentorships. Or more so, let's talk about mentorship. What is it? It's a tricky question because to some, mentorship is this formal activity where you meet on a weekly basis and you have an agenda. While to others, mentorship is something that's organic and indirect. It can happen anywhere. It could even be a one-time 10-minute conversation. Some make the distinction between sponsorship and mentorship. Others view it one and the same. Mentorship means different things to different people, depending on their situation, context, culture, and more. And this is what makes mentorship such an important and powerful concept. It's universal because it has the potential to be a positive experience for anyone, anywhere. But it's also personal because it occurs differently for every individual and in every relationship. It's a spectrum of personal preferences. If we wanted to generalize mentorship, we could even say that mentorship is an act, experience, and opportunity to share what you can, when you can, and how you can. Many agree that mentorship is important. It helps mentees, mentors, projects, teams, the broader community, the world. Since mentorship means different things to people, it's a very personal endeavor. And because of that, there's actually various different types of mentorship styles, or quote unquote, these mentorships, ranging from educator, encourager, ideator, listener, finder, researcher, connector, and much more. You're an educator, where you teach and inform on concepts, ideas, and more. You help explain and clarify material. You share your knowledge and experiences. You also like to provide encouragement to remind people of their progress and accomplishments to fuel their potential to keep doing great work. Maybe you like to collaborate with folks to create ideas together, brainstorm actionable steps to realize those ideas and make them reality. Or perhaps you enjoy listening. So instead of solely providing answers and guidance, you actively listen and you radiate the solidarity so that folks feel like they're heard, they are being heard. Or you're more of a finder and researcher, where you help people discover questions, resources, and other people that can provide insights. So you may not have the answers, but you're more than happy to help them look together and seeking and finding those answers. Or perhaps you're a connector, where you like to share resources, such as articles, books, multimedia, events, programs, and more. So you connect these resources to someone else, or maybe you're connecting people to people. In addition to the many mentorship styles, there's also various forms of mentorship. Is it a mentor-mentee relationship? Or could it be peer mentorship, reverse mentorship? There's various different structures. It can be something formal, or it can be informal. Questions can be broad or narrow. Broad as in career advice, advancement, and more. Narrow as in program languages, about a product, a service, a framework. Similarly, what about specificity? There's open-ended questions. What are your thoughts on X? How would you handle this? You can mentor on anything that can be shared. So for example, it could be on knowledge, what you know, what you think others should know, information, skills. It could be experiences. What are those things that can't be found in books or online, but instead through experiencing them? Stories, anecdotes. It could be general advice on career, growth, and advancement, on entering the industry, growing within the industry. It could be specific domain advice on frameworks and concepts about languages and tooling, architecture, on technical from engineering to design to product, marketing, user experience, management, communities, and more. Where do conversations take place? Is it in person? Is it through voice or through video, phone calls, audio, email, forums within Discord, Slack, and more? Do you prefer communication to be synchronous or asynchronous? Similarly, do you want a regular, predictable pattern of communication? Or maybe it's from time to time, occasionally. Or it could just be a one-time conversation, and that's more than okay. How large are the mentoring settings? Is it one-to-one? Is it one-to-many? Is it a group? Returning to the question, how do we make mentorship more accessible to all? How do we help more people board these mentorships? Let's dive in a bit more. Think back to the various styles and forms of mentorship. And more importantly, just share what you can, when you can, how you can. You may be mentoring already and not know it. Already rippling positively to so many other people through your education, through your connections, through your resources shared, through your encouragement. And if you're thinking it's too early or it's too late, it's not. You can always starting today, starting a minute from now, getting more people onto these mentorships so we can all explore Web3 worlds. And for when to mentor, we all have different commitments, responsibilities, hobbies, and more. So how do we fit mentorship in there as well? So the key thing is that it doesn't have to be time consuming. Make it personal to you and whatever you can based on your schedule. Whether that's an hour a month, maybe it's 10 minutes over the span of several months. Whatever fits your schedule. Overall, be mindful of when you can help and then do it. And by helping, it's really just answering a question, staying flexible and adaptable as your schedule changes. And for where to mentor, it can happen anywhere. It can start wherever you already hang out online, on Discord, on Slack, on forums. Maybe it's within your organization, through meetups, through conferences, through events, online, in person, remotely. Similarly, you can think of it as I go to them, meaning you're taking the first step in initiative by joining certain programs or answering kind of questions. Or they come to me, where you're like a lighthouse signaling to others, if I can help, please feel free to reach out. Because the key part is that when you help others, you also help yourself. It benefits the community, just benefits the entire ecosystem. And it's creating these positive, helpful ripple effects. For mentees and aspiring mentees, mentorship is an act, an experience, an opportunity that is beneficial. Now, there is no perfect one-size-fits-all. It's personal to you, the relationship, and the situation. Therefore, to find a mentor, it's helpful to expand the definition of mentorship. Traditionally, people think of it as this formal mentor-mentee relationship where you meet on a regular basis, probably have an agenda to achieve some set of goals. And that is a helpful form of mentorship when it's available to you, but it's also not the only kind that exists. As we've seen so far, there are different styles and forms of mentorship. And by expanding your perspective, it also opens up more mentoring opportunities. Mentorship starts with asking a personalized, thoughtful question. And that's what makes mentorship valuable and rewarding, is that it's a form of personalized dynamic help. And in order to get help, you or someone else before you often have to ask for it. And asking for help usually requires asking a question. Questions are powerful, and they're also an art. Therefore, when thinking about how to find a mentor, it's helpful to think about these sub-questions. What do I need help with? How can mentorship help me? What kind, form of mentorship do I want? When we think about mentorship that is being exchanged at scale, most happens informally. So you'll find that the asking a question strategy, the asking for help strategy, is more flexible, accessible, and easier to get started. Mentorship should not be forced, and it is a little difficult to do so. So instead, think of mentorship as asking for help, asking questions, getting responses, following up, and the cycle continues. Sometimes a mentorship can manifest as a single conversation, or it can be several. There are folks who are mentoring and they won't know it. Or there are folks who avoid the label altogether, and vice versa. So to summarize, formal structured mentorship programs are helpful when they're available, and do apply and do try to be a part of those programs. But there's also bountiful, informal, unstructured mentorship that is happening everywhere that you can also be a part of by asking questions. So now that you have an idea of what you need help with, how mentorship can benefit you, what kind of mentorship you're seeking, and what kind of questions you want to ask, you now have to choose where to ask. And to think about this, there are these sub-questions as well. Can only a specific individual answer my question, or can it be asked in a group? Can I ask my question in public, or does it have to be in private? Where, specifically, do I want to ask? And depending on the question, you may prefer to ask publicly, where anyone can read and chime in, or privately, through some form of direct message where only limited people can see it and read it. It's not static, you can try one or the other. The one helpful thing to keep in mind is asking publicly, as a lot of great correlations and connections with learning in public and that kind of perspective and mindset. And where specifically to ask, a good rule of thumb is wherever you can ask right now. It sounds simple, but it is effective, meaning it can be online, in person, at events, at conferences, meetups, hackathons, within organizations and companies, online forums, through some part of dedicated program. It could be on the various platforms like Discord, Slack, LinkedIn, Twitter. The list goes on. Some actively seek mentorship while others let it come to them. But essentially, mentorship can happen anywhere a question and response can take place. Some helpful practices to keep in mind are to first assume things from the mentor's perspective, and that although they have limited time, attention, resources, and energy, they still want to help in some way. Therefore, make it easy to help you. Do your initial research and be prepared. Follow quickly and give updates. Set 1-week reminders. Set reminders for 1, 3, and 6 months, as well as 1 year. Help when you can and how you can. And also leave it better for the next person. How you interact and engage in this mentoring relationship can influence a mentor's willingness to help in the future. So ideally, it was such a positive experience for everyone involved that they continue to seek and give mentorship in the community. As we wrap up, want to put mentorship.guide on your radar. A lot of the content you see here today came from mentorship.guide, and mentorship.guide is essentially this open source project built by the community for the community, which provides resources, support, and strategies for both mentors, mentees, and those looking to get started. So definitely do check out the guide for more detail to the latest readings and to contribute as well. It's something built by the community, for the community, in order to improve both the quality and quantity of mentorship so that everyone can benefit and so that mentorship is accessible to all. To connect the various ideas and resources that are being created by the community so that there's a place for whether one is a mentor or a mentee or looking to get started. There's something there to learn, something there to grow. Once again, thank you all. Do check out mentorship.guide, contribute, read more details, add resources, provide feedback, and more. Together as mentors, as mentees, or even just those looking to get started, making mentorship more accessible to all, something by the community, for the community, all boarding these various mentorships onto new adventures, learnings, opportunities, and more. Thank you.